In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
Yum. Science.
It's not rocket science.
Check it out. I blinded us with science.
The Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, and we've got a roundup of some of the coolest and weirdest gadgets from this year. So we already told you about one, the voice-activated bidet that lets, Alexa, Google, wash your behind for you. Apparently dry it off, too. Other gadgets, though, include Samsung's creepy robot helper that follows you around and watches you sleep.
Pass.
Could you imagine waking up and that thing staring at you? Bad enough when your kid or grandkid does that.
Especially when, say you're sick or congested and you're snoring and it, thinks you're dying. It's, standing over you.
How about this? A new mirror that can tell if you're stressed out or even sick. It's kind of like your car. Does your car do this? Driver attention, low. I was looking at a bird. I was just looking at something. Come on.
I don't think that I don't have that on my car.
I have it on mine. And also bird watching binoculars that identify the birds for you.
I can do that for you for $3,000. That's a bird. Yeah, that's a bird too.
That also a bird.
How about this? A vertical record player. What's wrong with having it long?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Flat.
Why? Why does it have to be vertical?
How about an AI toothbrush that tells you if you're brushing wrong? I already have a dental hygienist for that.
Are you flossing?
I say at the end, and at the end it shames you if you don't floss immediately. There's a pillow that moves your head around to stop you from snoring. So you start snoring, it flips you over.
Pushes you off the bed, slaps you in the head.
I thought that was just your wife that did that for you. Or how about this device, which is also creepy? It's called WeHead. It gives ChatGTP a face.
We have to have faces on everything, right?
No, I don't know. I don't want a face on my robots.
How about this one? Gen Z is going wild for this. A $140 iPhone case with a physical keyboard.
So kind of like the BlackBerry used to have.
Yeah, back in the day. Which, of course, will make your phone that much bigger, but young people think an actual keyboard to type on might be nice.
Well, if you're someone that maybe is trying to type out emails off of your phone as you're working remotely, could be an option.
How about this? A $3,500 AI-powered toaster for steak. Toaster for steak. Yeah, it's like somebody here once tried to cook chicken nuggets in our toaster and then put it back in the cupboard when it didn't work out.
Because it killed the toaster. How about a smart stroller? Worth about $3,000. It pushes itself around to rock your baby to sleep. Yeah, because that's not going to go wrong.
It's not dangerous at all as it takes off down the street.
And how about a pot that makes plants move when you touch them and also begs you for water when they're dry?
Could you imagine that? It just starts yelling for water.
Hey,
Thirsty.
Hey, I see you're drinking some water. How about you give me some water?
You know who would be perfect for that? The voice of that, if he could duplicate it again, would be our grandson. When he was little, they were visiting one time. We said, he was quite young. We said, we'll put him in our room, right? In his little crib thing. And we're just in the middle of the night, not realizing that he was having problems with his adenoids. So he was always thirsty. Mm-hmm. So he would wake up in the night and do this. Water!
That's exactly how I picture those plants crying out for water.
So 4 months ago, a dog went missing in Saskatchewan. So it had been missing since September, and it just turned up in a very unlikely spot, downtown Toronto.
So the owner, Conrad, says he initially assumed that his dog, a 3-year-old shepherd mix named Bear, had been killed by coyotes because it disappeared from his backyard while he was out at a golf tournament.
I left the yard and I happened to look in my rearview mirror and seen he was running behind the truck, but the dust was coming up from the wheels, and I figured he would eventually stop, turn around, and when I got back from golf, he was gone.
They explained that the son was working on a farm in Saskatchewan, and in the beginning of September, a dog showed up on the farm, had a collar on, but he was afraid to take him to the shelter because he thought that they would euthanize him.
And the guy's like, "Oh, I got your dog." I was just, what? Pardon? And then, I talked to him a bit, and he was obviously very sorry that he took him.
So how did they get reunited? Because the dog was microchipped. And so when they brought this dog in, they were able to check it out, find the microchip information, and get a hold of his owner in Saskatchewan.
Kudos to the owner of that animal hospital who, when they heard the story, was like, well, did you ever get it scanned or microchip? And they're probably like, no. He's like, well, I'm just going to double check. Because, I mean, you said the dog had a collar. That's what kind of threw me off when I heard the story is like, if I found a dog with a collar, I'd be like, assume that this dog has a home. Someone's cared for it. They put a collar on it.
I mean, I grew up in the country in Northern Ontario. We never tied our dogs. We never they never had collars on. They were always running loose, right?
But everybody in the neighborhood knew, oh, it's the Palmer's dogs over there.
Well, yeah, everyone had dogs, really, on the road that I grew up on. So it was just one of those things. Then they really didn't wander all that far. We had a few acres of land, so they just basically stayed, at around our house.
Yeah, but I feel like there's been a real shift, though, when it comes to dogs. And you get people driving through the country and they see a loose dog and they immediately think, well, the dog should be indoors. Why is this dog running around? Not realizing that, well, it's on its own property. It's on its farmland.
So they started a GoFundMe for this guy in Saskatchewan. One of his friends did this to help to offset the expenses of traveling to Toronto and then bringing his dog back.
Yeah, because he's going to have to take maybe a week off of work to drive there to pick up Bear. But
he's hoping this weekend or next weekend they should be able to get reunited once again. Ever have a pet go missing for a long time?
One of our old huskies, I think it was Sheba was her name. She ran into town numerous times. If she got off her, because we always kept her tied up outside because huskies are known to wander, and she would just start sniffing a trail or chase after something, and she ended up in Chatham numerous times at families' houses. And we had to go pick her up a couple times. I think my uncle let her off one time when we were away, and he had to go pick her up from the animal shelter and pay the fee.
We had a black cat when I was a kid. His name was Bobby. My mom loved that cat. He went missing for over a year. Did not know where was he? He was gone. And then I was going up to bed one night, and we had this overhang, and there was 2 windows there. And I see something at the window. It was him. A year later, he was skinny as a rake, and he came running in. My mom just immediately started bawling. That cat lived till he was about 14 or 15 years old after that. So where was he in that year? If they could only talk, right? Where were you? Tell me about your adventures.
I don't know, but I bet you he had a lot of little babies out there after that.
Lots of little bobbies. Do you have one of those Stanley tumblers?
I do not. However, I did buy one for my sister for Christmas. Although that was mainly just because I was like, what do you want for Christmas? And she's like, I don't need anything. And so I was like, I'm going to buy you something you don't need that's completely frivolous.
Well, a mom in Ohio, her rant online is going viral because she was offering advice to parents after her daughter got bullied for having a generic version of the Stanley tumbler, that one that's selling out everywhere.
So her daughter is only 9 years old, and they got her this $10 knockoff version from Walmart for Christmas. And when she first opened it, she loved it because it had a fun pattern on it, which you don't really get with the stock Stanleys, right? It had this fun pattern, lots of different colors on it. So she thought it was great until she got to school after the holiday break. And that's when a bunch of her friends started to tease her.
This is the cup that we got our daughter for Christmas. This is not a Stanley. This is a $9.98 Walmart cup that she said she thought was cute. She is 9 years old. On the second day back to school after Christmas break, she comes home. She's just upset. Girls in her grade, she said 10 of them, all got Stanleys for Christmas. And they made sure to let her know that this is not a real Stanley, that this is fake and it's not as cool. She asks if she can have a real Stanley. Do I think that a 9-year-old needs a Stanley? No. Do I have one? Yes, I have one. That being said, before you come at me, if you're a mom, if you're a parent, and you can do something to keep your child from getting made fun of, to help fit in, you're gonna do it. So we went and bought her a 30-ounce Stanley. Can we afford to buy her a Stanley? Yes. Did I think that she needed one? No. Apparently I've been proven wrong by the children in our school that are making fun of her for not having a real name brand Stanley.
I mean, kids are going to make fun of kids always about something.
Mm-hmm. If it wasn't a Stanley, it's going to be, over the shoes that they're wearing because everything goes in cycles. Mm-hmm. For a while there, it was having Apple Watches or an iPhone. Or Ugg boots. I remember Ugg boots were a big thing. And Lululemon leggings versus,
generic brands.
Yes.
When I was a kid, it was a specific type of gym bag, Adidas. And I didn't have one and got made fun of that. My parents actually did go and get me one. So I had, and I remember being so proud of going in and having that brand name because we weren't brand name people.
No.
I got hand-me-down clothes from my cousins that were bigger than me, right? So that's how I grew up. We didn't grow up in that brand name world, but every once in a while, you want to do that. Now, this mom also continued to talk a little bit about her daughter being teased.
This doesn't start with the kids. This starts with parents, with moms. What are we teaching our kids? You better believe that if our 9-year-old daughter came home and somehow we found out that she made fun of another girl at school for not having something name brand, whether it's a Stanley, Lululemon, Uggs, I don't care what it is. We would be calling the family. We would be making her write a note to apologize. We would make her apologize in person because that's not what we do in this household. And that's what we need to be teaching our kids. If my daughter asks for something to help fit in, it's something that she really wants and I can do that for her, I'm going to. But we have got to teach our kids to not make other kids feel inferior for not having the things that they have.
It starts at home. How much of this is learned behaviors? Now, some kids, I mean, maybe you come from the greatest house, but they're just not the greatest seeds, if you will. Whatever reason is in their mind. Were you ever bullied when you were a kid?
Not too much, but I do remember getting teased maybe about not having the right jeans or shoes or whatever it was.
I mean, bullying those scars last a long time. My grade 9 year was not good. And it was just because a group of town kids decided that I was the country kid that they were going to focus on. It got to the point that it was so bad that my stomach would ache in the morning, I wanted to throw up. Until I finally stood up for myself first day of grade 10. And then they just went off and did it to someone else.
Yeah, because it's not fun anymore when you're not going to be their punching bag.
Or you're going to fight
and
back.
take it.
But here it is, how many years later, and I still think about it every once in a while. The scars stay.
Well, and I think I've talked about this too with my mom because she was a teacher, for years, right? And unfortunately, if it's not, like, they're going to find something to tease you about. And I see this happening to my nephew sometimes too, where... And I try to tell them, like, you can't take it personally because they're just going to they're picking at something at you. And if you didn't have that, they'd find something else to pick at you about and tease you about.
Yeah, you can have the Stanley tumbler, but then maybe they go after you because you don't have the brand name shoes or the brand name jeans. But a lot of this behavior, it has to start at home. As parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, we need to do a better job and tell our kids in our lives, okay, enough. Don't be picking on people. We finally did it. We finally made it through January.
Yes, it is the 31st. Tomorrow will be February 1st, brand new month. Groundhog Day, just around the corner too, right? But, what were we thinking about in January, right? A lot of times we're spending more time at home following the holidays.
Maybe jumping on the computer, Googling things. So they put out a list of some of the things we were Googling in January, including who won Golden Globes in 2024. They were on January 7th. Obviously, a lot of people won awards. The big winner was Oppenheimer.
Another thing we Googled this month, what happened to Martin Lawrence? Apparently, he was featured in a throwback segment at the Emmys, and fans were worried because he seemed to be slurring his words a bit. He's had some health issues in the past, but people in his camp say he's fine and actually just wrapped up filming Bad Boys 4 with Will Smith. That's due out on June 14th.
We also Googled, where is Bill Belichick going? Of course, he and the New England Patriots parted ways this month after 24 seasons and 6 Super Bowls. No word yet where he's headed next.
Why did Justin and Jessica split? This is in reference to Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. Now, they did briefly stop dating way back in 2011. Rumors then swirled that they may have split up again after 10 plus years of marriage, but she was with him at SNL this past weekend. So that kind of puts those rumors to bed.
And here's what we've been Googling the past 24 hours in Canada. Volkswagen Group electric battery in the initial public offering.
Also, data breach, computer security, and Twitter.
And also steak, cuts of beef, and how to cook the best steak of your life.
Well, that seems very arbitrary.
So I guess we were worried a little bit about what's going on with electric batteries, data breaches, and we're like, well, after all that, I need a good meal. Did you ever collect hockey cards or anything like that when you were a kid?
No, not really. I remember getting some baseball cards, I think maybe from McDonald's as a kid.
I was right into it. Myself, my friends, we would collect the hockey cards, trade with each other. I got this, you want that?
My nephews are all into it now. I've bought them some hockey cards this year for Christmas, and they love it. But could you imagine that, you bought a property and found like a a box of hockey cards in the basement that's unopened, mind you, and forgot about it for years, only to realize later that it's from the year that Wayne Gretzky was a rookie. And there could be up to 20 Wayne Gretzky rookie cards in there.
Yeah, a case of 1979 hockey cards found in a Saskatchewan basement could easily bring in several $1 million. In fact, this auction is already over $1 million.
It's over 1.3 million. I just checked this morning. So inside the case are 16 unopened boxes of the OPC hockey cards, or OPC hockey cards. There's 48 packs, 10 cards per box. So 7,680 cards are inside. But for serious collectors, there's only 20 cards in that whole batch that really matter. Because based on statistical probability, that's how many pristine Wayne Gretzky rookie cards might be locked inside. And some of these, perfectly graded Wayne Gretzky rookie cards in the past have sold for over $1 million each.
And the company that's auctioning these things off calls it, quote, the outrageous holy grail of hockey cards, that the box was sitting around that long gathering dust. It was part of a bulk purchased by a Regina-based seller, and they actually thought it was a different year until they looked inside the box and saw the year.
So the outside box of it said 1980, okay, because that was the year that they came out. But the cards were for the season, which was the year before, which was 1979, 1980. And that's when they realized, oh my gosh, that was Wayne Gretzky's rookie year. We could be sitting on a literal millions of dollars.
But here's the thing. They need to be graded 10 out of 10 to be considered ultimate mint Gretzky cards. I was reading a bit more about this. Because of the way that they used to cut the cards, they would use this like metal wire, and over time it would get dull, and then they'd have to replace the wire. Well, you would get cards that would be frayed along the edges a little bit.
They weren't crisp cuts.
That weren't crisp, right? They've got all these grading things that they do on these cards. But even if you have one of them in there, you could be looking at several $1 million just for that one card.
And even the ones that maybe aren't in pristine condition, you're still probably going to get $500,000 to $1 million for those cards.
I mean, that's Wayne's rookie year. I mean, there's other players from that era that probably would fetch a good amount of money too.
Yeah, I don't know what other players you might find hockey cards for that year, but I'm sure you get a couple $100 for some of the other cards too.
I mean, just add that to the list of things that when we were kids, why didn't we take care of these things? I had a Wayne Gretzky rookie card and just didn't take care of it.
If you had a time machine, would you go back and like yell at your younger self to put that in a piece of plastic?
I'm already gone. I'm already there yelling at myself. The month of January feels sometimes like it lasts like 8 weeks instead of 4, but we finally made it through. Brand new month today, and there's some things to look forward to in February.
So when it comes to sports, you have the NHL All-Star Game this weekend. That's happening up in Toronto, and they're doing the draft tonight. So you've got the celebrity captains teamed up with players, and they'll do that draft tonight. Tomorrow's the skills challenge. Let's be honest, that's the best part of the whole weekend. And then the game will be on Saturday. This Sunday is the Pro Bowl, although I use that words in quotes when it comes to the NFL because it's like a flag football game and different challenges now.
Yeah, it should be just challenges. Just do challenges for it.
Yeah. Well, they don't do contact anymore because so many guys have gotten hurt in the past. Super Bowl. That's next Sunday. Prepare yourselves. Usher's going to be performing. I'm looking forward to the Usher concert. I really don't care about the two teams anymore after the Lions got knocked out. Tiger Woods is hosting the Genesis Invitational. That starts February 15th. And for all you NASCAR fans, the Daytona 500 is February 18th.
If you like over-the-top outfits, the New York Fashion Week starts next Friday. That runs through the 14th.
Lots of things on TV. The Grammys are this Sunday. The final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, that starts the same day. Abbott Elementary is back on the 7th. NCIS returns the 12th. And a new season of Love is Blind lands on the 14th. And then there's even more new shows coming back because the writer's strike and the actor's strike ended. So then everything's starting a little bit later this year.
Young Sheldon is coming back on the 15th. Blue Bloods on the 16th. American Idol kicks off a new season on the 18th. You've also got The Voice back on the 26th. And another season of Survivor, 46, starts on February 28th.
I know you're a big fan of Survivor.
Love it.
Looking forward to that? Mm-hmm. In theaters this month, there is a new spy action comedy, Argyle. That opens up tomorrow. There's a Spider-Man spinoff called Madam Web that stars Dakota Johnson. It's out on Valentine's Day. Bob Marley One Love, that opens the same day as well, as does the new horror flick Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
You've also got the holidays, the big ones, Mardi Gras on the 13th, Valentine's Day, of course, on the 14th, Family Day for us here in Ontario on the 19th, and February is also Black History Month.
So does that mean Punchki Day is the 13th then?
It's got to be close.
It's usually like Pancake Tuesday or Shrove Tuesday.
Tomorrow's Groundhog Day, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what Wired2 Willie's going to say. And a few other holidays coming up. Pizza Day is on the 9th. Drink Wine Day is the 18th. And the 22nd is National Margarita Day.
And if you're a leap year baby, you'll finally get to celebrate one of those birthdays because there is a leap year this year, February 29th. So that's some of the things coming up during the month. When I was a kid and I'd see all these futuristic shows and movies, I always used to think, oh, I'll embrace technology when it comes along. I'll, be right into the robots and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm like the crowd with the torches. Burn them! Burn the robots! Because it's getting scary. You've got those deep fakes of Taylor Swift that went around last weekend, I think it was, or a week ago.
Yeah, and Twitter did nothing to take them down until finally there was enough of an outcry. But now the latest thing is a comedy AI called Dudesy, who just made a fake hour-long George Carlin stand-up special.
Hello, my name is Dudesy, and I'm a comedy AI. Before I get started, I just want to let you know very clearly that what you're about to hear is not George Carlin. It's my impersonation of George Carlin.
So, to say the least, George's family and his daughter Kelly not happy about it, and his estate has now launched a lawsuit.
She wrote, "My dad spent a lifetime perfecting his craft from his very human life, brain, and imagination, and no machine will ever replace his genius."
She also said these AI-generated products are clever attempts at trying to recreate a mind that will never exist again.
Yeah, you're really infringing on, this artist's work and the talent that they had. And I know this guy says, well, it's just my impersonation of it. Yeah, but you're using it to make money, buddy.
And where does it stop? Because I was reading reports the other day about U.S. President Joe Biden, a robo-voice that's calling people and not saying very flattering things. And now they're scrambling to get injunctions to stop whatever company is doing that.
So maybe now the government will do something about regulating AI now that it's affecting them in the election?
I would hope so. Because there needs to be the brakes pumped a little bit on some of this technology. I mean, bad enough that they're doing these deep fakes like, nude pictures of Taylor Swift or just kids in general.
Yep.
I've heard that going around.
Yep.
It's getting scary, costing people's jobs, that sort of thing too. And when you talk about George Carlin, he was a master at stand-up comedy. And here's 60 seconds or 90 seconds of George talking about the modern man.
I'm a modern man, a man for the millennium, digital and smoke-free, a diversified, multicultural, postmodern deconstructionist, politically, anatomically, and ecologically incorrect. I've been uplinked and downloaded, I've been inputted and outsourced. I know the upside of downsizing, I know the downside of upgrading. I'm a high-tech lowlife, a cutting-edge, state-of-the-art, bicoastal multitasker, and I can give you a gigabyte in a nanosecond. I'm new wave, but I'm old school, and my inner child is outward bound. I'm a hot-wired, heat-seeking, warm-hearted, cool customer, voice-activated and biodegradable. I interface with my database. My database is in cyberspace, so I'm interactive, I'm hyperactive, and from time to time, I'm radioactive. I bought a microwave at a mini mall. I bought a minivan at a mega store. I eat fast food in the slow lane. I'm toll-free, bite-sized, ready to wear, and I come in all sizes. I've been pre-washed, pre-cooked, preheated, pre-screened, pre-approved, pre-packaged, post-dated, freeze-dried, double-wrapped, vacuum-packed, and I have an unlimited broadband capacity. I'm a rude dude, but I'm the real deal. Lean and mean, cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Rough, tough, and hard to bluff. I take it slow, I go with the flow, I ride with the tide, I got glide in my stride. Driving and moving, sailing and spinning, jiving and grooving, wailing and winning. I don't snooze, so I don't lose. I keep the pedal to the metal and the rubber on the road. I party hardy, and lunchtime is crunch time. I'm hanging in, there ain't no doubt, and I'm hanging tough, over and out.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.